Good evening, everyone. We'll call this public hearing to order. We have a workshop tonight. It is going to be from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on the Pleasant Grove Widening Project. And with that, I'll recognize our Public Works Director, Mr. Barlow.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. Pleasure to be here. I know this is a project that we've talked about for some time. Maybe not as long as some of the others, but this has been in our plans for a long time. So subject for tonight, Pleasant Grove Road. This is basically the idea of improvement project, widening capacity, the whole bit from Central Pike all the way to where it currently ends, where it was previously improved by Paddock's development, which is near Old Pleasant Grove Road. It's probably the best way to put it. So the outline for tonight, we have our engineering team from TTL. We have David Rast leading the team, and he'll be passing off to his guys over there as well. So I've got a lot of good information. I think ground rules for this evening, we have sign-in table over here. There are some seats in the back if anybody's able to get filtered around through, so we'll make way if we need to. But comment cards, we have comment cards as well. Make sure that you pick one of those up. We are going to be, you don't have to have them back to us tonight, but have it back to us. And I think we'll have some timelines associated with it. So that's kind of the general idea. Just make sure we get a record of your attendance and a comment card, and we will be recording and posting this video so that we make sure that this is recorded for everybody. And additionally, there will be a time period for comments after the fact. So this is not just for our crew here tonight. If there's others that aren't able to make it, we'll have it for them as well. But that's kind of the gist of it. Well, thank you, Kenny. I didn't recognize you as well. So, and Sheila, of course, as always. So anyway, I'm going to pass it off to David. David, take the reins. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barlow. And hey, thank you all for coming out. Apparently we got the letters and your interest. Just that makes for a great public meeting for a project like this. The agenda for tonight, we're going to talk about our purpose, why we're here, the objectives. We're going to give you a project overview. We're going to talk about some alternatives. We got 3 different alternatives to get your comments on. We're going to talk about the project status and future milestones for the project. And of course, we're going to get your feedback. Purpose of our meeting is why. Why is this project here? Why are you here to talk to us about the project? We're going to get into that a little bit more with alternatives and discussion of the actual job itself. We're going to present the 3 alternatives that we have. They're prepared. Definitely, again, your comments. We're going to say that a couple times during this presentation. At the end of the presentation, we're going to put up our 3 boards with our 3 alternatives. We're going to have those manned. Please come up and talk to our staff, talk to city staff. Let us know what your concerns are. Let us know what you're worried about. Let us know if there's anything unique about your property that we need to be aware of as we're going into design. Okay, I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thanks, Dave. Forget how tall he is. So I want to go over the project objectives. We've done some preliminary investigation on the roadway, and we wanted to come up with what's needed. What are the concerns? It came down to 2 basic concerns that we have. Improve the operations of the roadway and improve the safety. On improve the operations, there has been and will continue to be significant growth in the area. Everybody's seen a bunch of subdivisions come in. A lot of things are getting developed, so on and so forth. That's adding more and more vehicles to roadways that were just 2-lane cow paths at one time. Consideration for bicycles and pedestrians. That's becoming a very popular mode. Everybody, is starting to use that, get healthier, walk out there. We want to give some safe places and some efficient places for people to not only use, but to use with confidence. From safety, we want to address the current hot spots. All you guys I know have that road near and dear to your heart. I love that little hairpin curve where the guardrail is messed up every time I drive by it. So it would be nice to actually get that fixed. Guardrail's great, but it's still a fixed object and it's still getting struck. So let's correct that. Let's give you guys something that actually flows nicely, keeps people at speed, and keeps people safe and gets them from A to B. And that's for all modes of travel, not just for the cars. So this just gives you some base information on the project that we have to date. It goes from Central Pike to Old Pleasant Grove Road, as Dave alluded to. The idea is to widen it from the 2-lane section that you have now to a 4-lane, and we'll get into more of that, the specifics of that here in just a minute. We want to add some accommodations for both bikes and peds, and then we want to look at the intersections. There's a few intersections within that area that we want to look at, and make sure that we've put in the proper improvements to keep things flowing nice, safe, and freely. So this just gives you a little overview of what the project is a little bit closer. Like I said, Central Pike to Old Pleasant Grove Road, and then we've got a few intersections with Burton Place, Triple Crown, and Trevor Drive. So looking at the airs from fine, but what does it look like when you're on the road? This gives you a great little rendering of what we're currently considering for the roadway. Starting from the outside in, the idea would be to put two 10-foot wide multi-use paths. The multi-use path can accommodate both the bicyclists and the pedestrians. There's a bit of a buffer between that and the travel lanes that will kind of keep them out of the clear zone, add a little factor of safety, give the what we would call vulnerable road users, being bikes and peds, a little bit of breathing room and some confidence. And then in between the opposing lanes of travel, we've got a raised median. So the raised median is something I kind of want to briefly touch on. First, it was picked for a few reasons. Firstly, it continues the section that's already there from Old Pleasant Grove on. That's one way. Second, it gives us the ability to add in left turn lanes where appropriate. The other thing it does is it also calms the traffic down. It gives a nice buffer between the two opposing lanes, but it also puts something there to keep people's speeds down. It does eliminate a two-way left turn lane, which if you want to look at it statistically, that section is a little bit less safe than a 4-lane would be. And that makes sense because people are continually, I know everybody in the room, and I'll be one of the people, has used that center lane to kind of pull out and stall out and things like that. That can lead to some interactions that are not always conducive and not always safe. So it does eliminate that concern. So, oh, sorry. I didn't know who my mom was either. Kidding. So there are 3 alternatives that you guys are going to see tonight. And as we've alluded to, they're going to be set up for you guys to look at in greater detail. So I'm just going to glance over some of the high points of them here, and we can be happy to explain them a little bit more when we get to the boards. But there's some common improvements between all of them. The first one's going to be at the southern end of the project. That's going to be the little segment that is actually tying into Central Pike. First thing that everybody's probably sees is that little red, amber, green symbol there. So that's for signalization. And I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. Oh no, I've done it a few times, so I'm with you there completely. So the signalization is definitely in the cards for this. But the other thing we looked at was just adding in the lanes that you needed, adding in the dedicated lefts and the rights so that we can actually move those vehicles off and let them stay until it's time for a gap for them to get on there without imposing on the through movements of the intersection. Likewise, the approach is going to be very similar, where we're going to be kind of coming down in that the way that you see up there on the screen and 90ing into Central Pike to give everybody a little bit better sight lines. So now we're going to flip to the northern end of the project. This one, it's going to match up to what you already have at Old Pleasant Grove Road. There is a left turn lane put in there just to get into the dealerships, and it's just meant to continue what you already have and bring it through and kind of begin our corridor. So why are we having this meeting? Where's the feedback if those are common? Mainly because we have one focus area that we really would love y'all's feedback on and y'all's ideas on, and that's going to be right here. This is right around the area of Triple Crown. What ends up happening is the alignment actually goes into new alignment in all 3 alternatives, and it does it in slightly different ways. And there's slightly different ways we treat Triple Crown's intersection. And that's something that would be very interesting to get the feedback on. And you can kind of see them displayed to the right. For the first one, this is the free flow curve alternative is what we're calling. What we did for the conceptual design is we just took one leg from the south and one leg from the east and just brought them together with a curve that's at speed. The one thing I will say about this alternative is probably the most invasive of the 3 as far as impeding onto adjacent property. The benefit it gives is it gives a truly free flow movement, meaning no stop signs, no signal, no yield, no nothing on Pleasant Grove Road. It extends Triple Crown down into the intersection. And then we just drop a bunch of stop signs at I get to use the pointer, at the existing Old Pleasant Grove Road, Burton Place, and there. Those would be all controlled by stop signs. For our second alternative, this is the roundabout alternative. As you can see, the roadway is shifted, but less than what you saw on alternative 1. It's just shifted to line up with Burton Place. The reason for that is we wanted to make a nice 4-legged roundabout to where everything kind of came in very nice and straight. What this allows us to do is to have a good design, good functioning roundabout. What we supply with it are what we call bypass right turns. And there's one actually coming from the southern approach and heading north. That would be free flowing, meaning there would be no kind of yield condition or stop condition on that. It would just continue on. The same could be said for coming off Burton Place and going down on Pleasant Grove Road. Both of those movements would be unimpeded they would essentially bypass the intersection is what they would use the right turn to do. And then we do have one up here coming off of Pleasant Grove Road going on the Triple Crown, but it will have a yield condition just because the number of lanes that we have on Triple Crown is 1, not 2. So we needed to put some sort of a yield control there. That way people mix nicely and no accidents occur.
And this is our third alternative. We're calling this the signal alternative. It's very similar to the one you just saw. We're realigning the existing Pleasant Grove Road to create a 4-legged intersection similar to the last one. This one is slightly different in that there's only one bypass right turn lane. So Matt, could you point to the southern end going up to the right? So similar to the roundabout, this is the only bypass right on this one. For all the other movements, you'll come up to a stop line and it'll be controlled by a traffic signal. Other than that, we're providing double left turn lanes if you're going from the north end of the project to the southern end. Could you point that out real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, so that movement there from that left there will be dual left turn lanes. And then this is similar to both. I know Matt didn't mention it, but we'll be cul-de-sacking the existing Pleasant Grove Road. So vehicles that want to access the existing Pleasant Grove Road as shown on the screen will do so by a new proposed side road that ties in further east of what's shown on the screen.
Okay, I'll just add to that. It says further east on the screen. That's in our alternatives, and y'all can take a look at that when we get to the open session. Where we are today, go ahead and click it again. The life of a project. Boy, I think y'all heard about projects, TDOT projects, and how long they take to get to actually breaking ground and making things happen. Right now, we're in the planning and study, and we're developing our alternatives and developing what would be eventually our recommended alternative. We're going to work with the city and determine what that alternative is based on your comments, based on commission comments, et cetera. If that's my wife, I'm not here. We're working our way into the environmental stage. Some of you may have seen our environmental scientists on your properties taking a look at streams and critters and those types of things. We're developing that report, and we're also developing our preliminary design. Sorry, I'm right in the poll here. After we get our approvals of our preliminary design, we'll move on to full-fledged design, preparing our plans, construction plans for the project, followed by right-of-way acquisition. Now, we're not going to talk much about right-of-way acquisition tonight. That's not the purpose of this meeting. We will have a subsequent meeting to this where we'll bring you all back in again, show you where the impacts are, show you where the conflicts are, and show you what's going to happen. Talk to you about the negotiators and appraisers that will come out and walk you through the entire process. But like I said, that isn't the purpose of this meeting. That will be in a subsequent meeting. And finally, the one thing everybody's worried about is construction. Right now, we're estimating fall 2027. Seems like a long way away, but there's a lot to do before we get there. So that's about where we ended up. We're hoping to speed that up if we can, but right now, that's what we're estimating. Okay, kind of like Mr. Barlow said, we do have our comment cards. If you have comments and you don't want to fill them out tonight, take them home, fold them up, send them on in. Do indicate which alternative. Do indicate what alternative you're interested in. I'm trying to talk to everybody. Indicate the alternative you're interested in. If you have comments or something we need to know, please fill this out and send it in. Hand it to myself or hand it to Mr. White. We'll be walking around and sitting at the displays with you. Lastly, you've got your alternatives. If you need any more of these, just let us know. I think we've at least got a few left. So if you want to hand them out to your neighbors that didn't show up tonight, we'll be more than happy to supply you with those. Okay. Are there any Comments from the commissioners? Ray, no?
Do we just want to, are you going to open up the stations at this point?
Yeah, we'd like to open up the stations and just invite everybody up to come talk to our staff and city staff.
Okay.
Good.
Are we ready?
Thank you.